Aren't you tired of talking heads just talking? Black Gamut Entertainment is vowing to change the industry. We podcast with a purpose and our shows have goals. If you want to help make a change, then come join the Black Gamut family. Together, we make a difference.
Oh, what the block is. And then what he do all this bullshit here.
Yeah, with that, oh, wait, the whole look.
He's all like, cooking.
He did take forever to do that shit. That shit.
He did. He dragged it out, but it was okay. I was here for it.
It's called anticipation. So, for those who are just joining us, this is the third season of Blerd's Eyeview. I'm your host, Chris G. With me, my co-hosts. Notice is there a plural on there.
The It's
the Issus. Darius DC Chambers and our newest addition, Brandi Blocker. How's it going, everybody?
It's going. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm very excited that after all of the verbal abuse I've given DC, he was so nice to introduce me like that. Because I've been dragging him for like no reason. So, and I'm not gonna stop, but that was so nice.
So for those who don't know, Blerd's Eyeview is a podcast and now a video podcast that discusses everything in geek. Oh yeah, we getting big. That discusses everything in geek pop culture and everything in between. And since we've been gone for a couple of weeks, there has been a lot that's been going down, especially in the past 2.5 months. But we'll get to that later. First up on the bat, we've got a lot of stuff, a lot of talk going on about Zack Snyder's take on Justice League. They just announced this week that Joe Manganiello will be reprising his role as Deathstroke. And if you've seen Justice League at the end, it was one of the end credits. He shows up as Deathstroke. He looks good. It's good to see how this turns out. Very, very brief. And it has also been said that Jared Leto will be reprising his role as Joker.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel because I think we've been waiting for this for so long. And I think the first 10,000 years we were waiting on it, it was like, okay. And then now it's like, this had better blow our minds because
it better.
It's getting to the point now. I don't know, y'all. I'm still on watch, but we're gonna have to see because I wasn't that impressed with Mr. Leto.
Well, see, he also had some problems with it as well. He stated that, and let's face it, we were all in this boat when Suicide Squad came out, that it was, to us, the way they were portraying the trailers and everything, it seemed like Joker was the big bad.
Right.
And then we see the movie and
dang shit.
And it's like, why we came, when we came here, and that wasn't it.
That wasn't it.
There's no other way to say it. It wasn't it.
Very disappointing. He is a great actor.
He is.
So I would like to see. I would like to see what he would have brought to the table. Me and Darius have talked in great length about the disappointment that is Justice League.
Disappointment is a hot understatement. It is the utteral, visceral interpretation of trash. It's like Cleveland Browns on a Thursday and it's only Wednesday.
So wait a minute. Do you do Justice League and Batman versus Superman, or how do you?
Oh, them both.
How do you grade? Oh, they both. One's not
that's
slightly better.
Fruit. No.
Yeah, that is low hanging fruit. That's a lot to unpack there, man.
Those both equally garbage.
It was going somewhere. At least with Batman versus Superman, it looked like it was going somewhere.
Yeah, look,
they just forgot where to go.
Yeah, when they started
weird.
The ending got so weird.
Like, that whole ending was fucking. It was like doing acid and not knowing where you're at.
It took Diana to show up to say, okay, we might have something.
Listen, baby, when I tell you she saved that part of the film, she saved it. Because I was okay for that 10, 15 minutes she was there.
Part of the film.
She was that part of the film.
She was it. And I'm like, y'all should have just had her in the whole time. I don't know what y'all were doing. That was a mess.
Yeah, there's so much going on that was so disappointing.
So I guess we'll see.
Yeah. In other news,
before we move on, since I'm in the comments, I'm a comment guy tonight. I'm about to butcher this name.
Oh, Bobby. That's Bobby.
No, okay. Bobby said that she liked the movie, but Joker left something to be desired. Which is true, because
that was a very nice way to say that.
Yeah,
because I would have said that.
Listen,
he was out here tubing it.
Man,
I'm saying he was out here too. Short cocking. He was short
cocking it for real. He was like, I'm gonna make this happen, and it not happen.
And it didn't happen. He did not make fetch happen, wasn't it?
He didn't make
fetch happen. It wasn't it.
Remind me to tell Courtney that Skerbuffle may not be happening.
Oh yes. Ain't happening.
He's trying.
Quit saying it. We have to quit saying it. We're gonna make it happen for him if we keep saying it.
Yeah, true.
Right, say it 3 times, Courtney here. So you have to.
What if he did it like appear like fucking Candyman?
I would die.
I've seen a meme, and this shit is true.
He's gonna show up and say,
like my kid
"Do we have a Skerbuffle coming on
in
in
the mirror?" And I knocked him through the motherfucking refrigerator, between the refrigerator and the stove. Hey, I don't play with that shit. Do not do that around
either. I've never even finished
shit out of a kid.
I didn't finish Bloody Mary. And my son asked me about that, and he's like, "Have you ever finished saying it in the mirror?" I said, "Hell no."
Fuck no.
Why would I do that? Why would I do that?
Don't do that.
I like to live.
In other Zack Snyder-ish universe news, Empire Magazine just released their cover for the new Suicide Squad movie, and I will tell you, there's a couple of bright spots on this cover. You know, seeing King Shark, Captain Boomerang, and Brandi's, Harley Quinn.
After that, it gets fucking weird. Like,
who
are these people? I have never seen some of these.
It's like they put it in a bag, and they just was like, "You want to do this? We're taking this name. We're doing it."
I'm like, well, yeah, you got Nathan Fillion, but we don't know who the fuck this dude is. Like, we don't know who he's playing.
I will say this: I'm more excited about the actors playing the heroes than I am the actual heroes, if that makes sense.
I will tell you that
I feel like they got talent.
I will tell you that this is what a 15-person squad. I guarantee you,
it's a lot. It's like the Wu-Tang Clan.
Some people's getting bumped off. I'm just, my bets is going to start. We're going to start that. We may have to start a betting pool.
I would love that. Let's do that of who's gonna last.
It may not be. It might not be Pete Davidson.
It might not be. Davidson got to go first.
Yeah, it might not be Idris. It might not be Idris Elba because that's gonna.
Nah, he's star power. Him and John Cena.
That's gonna upset.
Yeah, they have plot armor. Yeah, we're gonna leave them alone.
King Shark, Captain Boomerang, Idris Elba, and Margot Robbie. I think they're safe. They're safe. They're safe. They're gonna be.
The other 26
platypus
people?
Man or plaid guy, whatever the fuck.
Polka dot.
Yeah,
polka dot.
Not platypus. Bye.
Whatever. It's all fucking abstract people. It was like, we got 5. Who else can we?
It was really weird.
This is a very, when you say ragtag group of, good Lord.
I was going for like the Bad News Bears on this one.
I'm like, they're naming off the people, and I'm just like, yeah, I know who that is. I know who that is. I know.
Man,
who the fuck is that?
By like the 6th person, when they were doing that big roll call, probably like 2 weeks ago or something or 3 weeks ago, I was like, what are we doing?
You lost me after.
See, that's Wu-Tang Clan. You get past Little Dirty Bastard, Method Man, RZA, Jizza.
Who was this?
Who the fuck is Big Easy and motherfucker?
It doesn't matter. Apparently, it doesn't matter.
Oh my God,
we should definitely start that Deadpool.
Yeah,
I like that.
there is talk, with COVID pushing everything back because now we just not going to see Black Widow this year. MGM is in talks with Apple and Netflix about James Bond moving to the new James Bond film moving to streaming.
Yeah, Netflix. I see.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Well, Coming to America got sold, so I mean.
Yeah, they sure did.
It'll get sold, but I think the thing that people probably miss is just that movie theater experience. Like, I could not have imagined watching something like Endgame just in my living room. I still would have enjoyed it, but there was something about everybody losing their minds together in the theater at different parts. And I think some films need to be seen in the theater, like that one that just came out with Denzel Washington's kid. Yeah, Tenet. And I wanted a film like that to be experienced like movie theater style for what we know Christopher Nolan is capable of. And I hate that it didn't get that. And therefore it was just kind of to the wayside. Every film's not going to do well with streaming. They're just not.
Mulan is dying.
Yeah, I think they really gambled with that one. They should have just done it like they
what
did. What
happened was that $30 like
that charge, $30 charge.
Say, what?
That's $36, my guy, and I'm not even getting stale.
Oh yeah. I forgot with the
nothing.
Yeah, that was the burner, and I think that just what did it in. And they were just like, you should have okay. Earlier this year, they released Onward. Onward was probably in the theater a week before theater shut down. Yeah. And then they said, you know what, throw it on streaming. And it was good. Yeah, it was very good. Shout out to Tranquil Ashes because she did the Manticore. You know, she cosplayed as the Manticore.
She's so good.
Yeah, she really is. Shout out to Tranquil Ashes. We're gonna get
her
on the show again.
Hey, damn, I like that.
Great name.
And it's like the top, they're like Tranquil Ashes. You just like, oh shit, she's calm as fuck.
What she does right before she comes up with a
come in for the kill.
I'm ready.
Like she comes in calm, but she's coming in for the kill. You're just like, oh God, you pissed her off. Why? Because she's calm. Just leave it be.
See, that'd be the ones that get you, the calm ones.
Always, you don't mess with them calm ones.
But she's a friend of the show. She's been on the show before. I'm gonna have to get her back on.
You have to come back because I'm here now, sis. So. Come back.
In other news, Michael B. Jordan is up to produce the Static Shock
I'm sorry,
movie.
You said Michael B. Jordan. Let me take off my shirt. I'm sorry.
Never say that name again.
I say it 2 more times. Will he come here?
MBJ from now on.
MBJ from now on. But yeah, he's up for producing the Static Shock movie for Warner Brothers. This is good news. Dope. He's making some moves. Michael B. He's handling business, man. The brother is about.
And he's going to be directing for Creed 3.
Exactly.
So yes. I think that's really dope that he's getting behind that chair and just calling more shots because that helps with the visuals we get. At
he literally has taken like the young up and comer role and just said, no, we're just not going to be in front of the screen. We're going to be behind the camera making moves.
I think he was already on this path anyway, but as sad as it is, I think because of the death of Chadwick, I think he's going to be more on that.
Yeah.
For sure. Because Chadwick wasn't playing about that. And I think them being so close as they were, this will be good for what we get creativity wise from him. That'll be good.
You're right. For those who don't know, which you must have been living under a rock, Static, his name is Static. The show was called Static Shock. The cartoon was, and so was the book. But Static was the actual character. It was
Virgil Hawkins.
Virgil Hawkins. He was a character from Milestone Comics, which was a leg offshoot of DC Comics, and Milestone Comics, which will be coming back next year, next February. So welcome back, Milestone. It was a very much diverse, inclusive group of heroes and villains. Such as Static, Hardware, the Blood Syndicate. This is where you've seen all your different colors of heroes, Latino, Asian, Black. They were all there.
Y'all remember the episode where Virgil went over dude's house? His dad was like super uber racist.
Yes.
And at that time, we probably
nobody
didn't catch
talks
that.
about it. Yeah,
we didn't catch that at that time. And then when you're older, you like, wait a minute.
Like his dad was like, I don't even want to eat when I'm in my house. Like, nigga, you so racist, you won't eat with a black dude in your shit. Nigga,
it makes food taste different when a colored person
food
is in
has
front
no
of
seasoning now.
Static Shock touched on issues as a cartoon. It touched on issues that were I don't even want to say the word is taboo. They just touched on issues got the message across to a lot of kids, And like you said, like you may not have picked up on it, but as you got older, you remembered it and you're like, man, his dad was super racist, so
super racist.
Yeah.
It's good to see them do that and have the people actually be people. Because I noticed a lot of cartoons that you remember growing up, they played with those storylines, but it was easy for some people not to take the message because they're like, oh, they're just gargoyles. And we're like, no, they black. Yeah. They're black. This is what they're going through. Goliath. Everybody on that show is of color. Okay, Goliath is black. Like this is a real thing. So when you manifest them into humans in cartoon form, it just means more to see it. And so hopefully when they do this remake, it'll hit a little harder too.
Oh yeah. And just so I have the news about Michael B doing Creed 3 anyway. In talks to direct. Not produced, but in talks to direct.
My baby directed.
You know what? He been talking to Coogler. That's what happened. He's been talking to Ryan Coogler because Ryan Coogler directed the first one. I think he did the second one.
He did
I thought he did both.
Yeah,
he did 1 and 2.
Yeah, so he's probably like, he was like, I'm gonna hand you the reins and you know what to do. So
don't fix it.
Yeah. It ain't broke, don't fix it. And other cartoon news, I had the opportunity of watching a special this week with Ducktales. It was an hour-long special.
Oh yeah, I missed it.
Oh,
Yeah, it was the Darkwing Duck episode.
See, I thought they was bringing him back.
They did bring him back.
Well, I mean, for like his own show, I thought it was gonna be like a reboot.
Oh
no, this is the first time he shows up is when he becomes Darkwing. And then in this episode, well, it's actually a 2-part episode. In this episode, he's looking over the city, but there's no crime. Like there hasn't been any crime since the mayor took over. So the whole time he's become Darkwing Duck, he has no crime. He's got all the gadgets, he's got all the skill, no crime to use it. So
man, I want Drake Mallard back, man.
Yeah. So basically, the episode entails
wasn't that his name, Drake Mallard?
Drake Mallard, yeah. It tells one of the main.
What we remember.
Yeah,
I was like Drake Mallard. How did I remember that?
Yeah, the main villain. He's got some new kind of tech, and he opens up a portal saying, "Oh, this is going to solve world hunger and everything." And it turns out, oh no, he's trying to open up a whole new world, and that's what brings in the villains from the Darkwing Duck universe.
Oh man, they had some goofy ones too.
Oh yeah,
the one that looked like Goofy that had electric.
Oh yeah,
Megavolt. Yeah,
Megavolt. He was one of them. He was one of them.
What was the reverse Darkwing Duck one?
There was.
They
had like an orange suit.
The episode they did.
Again, the things we remember.
I don't know how the hell I remember all this shit. I don't know what I did yesterday.
Because it touches your childhood.
But ask us something about like some high school math. I ain't got it.
Well, like I don't know it. I don't know it. Like y plus x equals.
Are we solving for W?
What? But let me tell you what happened in season 2 of Mighty Ducks, because I remember that. For some weird reason, we can tell you that.
But I know Drake Mallard was the man.
Yeah. But they talked about where they had an episode earlier. I think it was
what was his
last
neighbor's
season.
name?
The name who not Launchpad.
The fat dude. Yeah, the kid.
Goslin was the kid, but see that was
the other one with the nerd. Looked like Macaulay Culkin from My Girl.
Oh wait, I know who you talking about.
You know who? What's his name?
Yeah.
Egghead or something.
Yeah. But they did change a little bit because they did talk about they're not just talking about it. They are doing a Darkwing Duck television show.
I'm there for that.
I'm into it.
I'm back for
that.
And
This typically was the backdoor pilot episode for a Darkwing Duck show now.
Okay.
And the only difference is Goslin is not his daughter, but he pretty much is adopting her.
Ain't that what he did in the first one?
Was it?
Yeah, she was adopted.
I thought that was like flat out his.
All
right, somebody call Maury because somebody lying. So
but
we'll figure it out.
He's taking her under his wing. And Launchpad even said, "Oh, great! I'll spend part of my time in Duckburg and part of my time here." So I'm like, "Oh, you're gonna get that out the way right away."
He's with both.
he's gonna be on Team No Sleep. No wonder
that's gonna not Team No Sleep. That'll be good. I'd probably be looking more forward to that than I am surprisingly like this Animaniacs. I don't know why I'm not excited. I'm just not. I don't know why, and I love them.
I think because they're poking. Well, they've always kind of broke the fourth wall, you know. And from the trailer I've seen in the Animaniacs trailer, they are poking fun at the fact that they've been gone for over 20 years. So
it was like a good little trailer in Jurassic Park, and it was very funny. Yeah. But I'm just not excited.
Something's going.
It hits different. It just hits different. Like Animaniacs, you still watched it. It's just like Freakazoid. You still watched it.
Oh, that was my show.
It just
I love
different.
Freakazoid.
It just We still waiting on that Gargoyles.
Listen,
Quit playing with me.
I want the live
because that'll
action,
be it.
and I want Keith David doing the voice.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He ain't doing Greenleaf anymore. He can come on back.
He ain't doing nothing else. Come through and just give us that voice.
Spoiler alert, who's ever watching Greenleaf still?
Right.
Oh, yeah. Whoops.
Uh-oh.
Don't listen to this episode.
So just a couple of days ago, Tom Holland shared some behind the scenes photo. He's playing
Uncharted.
Nathan Drake of Uncharted. Yes.
The photos look good.
It does.
He look
Tom
like
Holland.
him.
He does. He really does. He does look like
Good angles.
He's obviously a younger Nathan Drake because Mark Wahlberg is playing Sully. So this is obviously when Nathan is just starting out. He's got to be like Tom Holland.
I've never played those games.
You've never played Uncharted?
I don't even have. No.
Oh God!
Just watch other people playing it.
I just heard it was like the male Tomb Raider.
It is. It's just as
cool
fun.
because Tomb Raider was better.
I think it'll make for a good. I hate you so much. What made it so much better?
Making a jump for no reason.
Was it the triangle boobs?
Yeah. Well, when they started, that was weird because it started out with the real Madonna shit. And
She was like this, baby.
It was like super pointy. It was like, are we going here?
I saw somebody like cosplay that,
doing?
and it was the pointy boobs.
It was. I seen that too.
So good. Like genius.
But on another note with that Nathan Drake, check out Nathan Fillion's fan film he did Uncharted like 2 years ago. It's on YouTube. It's completely free. It's like 20 minutes maybe. And
he kind of look like him too.
He does. He looks like the older Nathan Drake, you know, and fans were really wanting him to do the Uncharted film. They really wanted. I'm a Nathan Fillion fan. I wanted him to do it, and he does. He played. You know how we look at Deadpool and we're like, Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool.
He's been playing him his whole career.
Like every movie.
When you look at Nathan Fillion, you're just like, yeah, you're Nathan Drake. Like, you both share the same first name anyway. But he has that whole sarcastic demeanor on top of that. So, which is what Nathan Drake does in the game. He just has these little quips and it just works. But it's a great fan film. I advise anybody out there watching it or you guys check it out. It's real fun. So,
I'm gonna do that.
You won't regret it. You won't regret it. John Boyega's open to doing a Star Wars television show of any kind.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
considering
how he has been going off on Twitter, like not.
But can you blame him?
No, I don't blame him. I'm here
Star
for
Wars.
it.
Fuck Disney.
No, yeah, I'm here for it. But it's just when you're playing with that Disney juggernaut and you go off in that way.
Ears.
That's what I'm saying. Like
they'll bury your ass quicker than Hoffa.
Because I mean, let's take a rewind back. When we first were introduced to John Boyega as playing the character Finn on the Star Wars films. You just knew that this character was going to go somewhere.
Oh, yeah. I really thought based off the trailers, he was going to be like main story. And then I also thought it was nice that they were going to have a female there too. But I considered he was going to be the main and then she was going to be like the side. And even having my son see a trailer and say, I want to see this because it's cool that the Star Wars films has somebody that looks like me starring in it. That's what sold me.
Representation matters.
It matters. Mm-hmm. So going in there and then realizing film after film, what's going on? My boy got slashed up in the back and that's it. Like, yeah, that's it.
He became, and he was pissed behind it. He pretty much became comic relief. And
then, Binks.
Yeah. Oh God. And then
don't say that 2 more times.
And then he turns around. Like in The Last Jedi, he keeps telling Rey, "I have something to tell you. I have something to tell you." And we're just like, "Well, is he trying to tell her he loves her? Or what is he trying to tell her?"
Yeah, because at this point, weird.
Yeah, and it turns out, he's force sensitive, but you don't get that. You don't get that. Sensitive? Yeah. He's. Listen, when
like
he get
free.
Yeah, he's like gluten-free.
Cannot wait to say that on the first date. So I have something to tell you.
I'm force sensitive. You might want to get checked out.
So I've been taking a pill for it. So it's
the Family Guy episode. He was calling everybody. Was like, "Hey, I wanted to let you know I'm retarded. You might want to go get yourself checked." He called like everybody in his phone book to tell him. Like, yeah, I just took a test. I'm mentally retarded. You might want to go get yourself checked out. I'm just letting everybody know.
Oh man. We're
Family Guy.
Well, we're coming up on our half-hour mark, and so we're gonna put this little segment in that I created last season on this day in pop culture history with a twist.
Snap!
With a hint of lime.
With a hint of lime. On this day in pop culture history. So, on this day on pop culture history, on October 24th, 1976, someone made their first debut in Iron Man issue 118.
Mandarin.
Nope.
Oh, crap.
Rhodey. James
Rhodes. Nice.
Damn.
Made his first appearance in Iron Man 118 in 1976. 78, wow. I'm sorry, 78, 1978. And
Terrence Howard.
I was going to say, is that the same year Terrence Howard was born?
Serendipitous.
We'll never let that
go. Next time,
somebody get on and find out at the time what year he was actually born.
You know what? Let me go ahead and look that up right now. Let me look that up right now.
On October 23rd, in Incredible Hulk 172, which was in 1973, they introduced the Juggernaut.
Oh, the Juggernaut. I've always imagined myself in your shiny helmet as you charge at me with the bloodlust in your eye. No, I didn't mean right now. Oh, Deadpool 2. Oh, my God. Juggernaut was a man in that movie.
Oh, yeah. On October 22nd in 1985, the highly acclaimed Daredevil story Born Again with Frank Miller was started in issue 227. And it's still one of the most dramatic Daredevil stories to date. So you talking about somebody who's dealing with a lot of stuff, whose only power is he's hypersensitive, and
gluten,
because all his gluten.
I really was gonna say something.
All this gluten.
I'm like, leave him alone.
Everybody has all these problems, man. Hypersensitive, force sensitive.
On October 21st in 1980.
Sensitive.
Yeah, 1980 on October 21st. 21st, Uncanny X-Men 141, the storyline, The Days of Future Past, premiered.
All right.
And it was better than the movie.
Well,
he lied about that one.
You're right.
Howard was born in 1969, so we
off by
we wasn't on it, but definitely thought about
11 years later.
Yeah, right.
Definitely thought about him first.
And in we're gonna go here. 1982, Obadiah Stane first full appearance was in Iron Man 166. In 2005, issue 1 of Nick Fury's Howling Commandos was first released featuring Warwolf. And in 2016, in 2016, after a long search for her family, Cindy Moon was finally reunited with her dad in Silk number 13. But here is the one that really matters. October 19th, 1976. Jack Kirby's Black Panther #1 launched on this day in Marvel history. The first ongoing series for T'Challa, aka the Black Panther.
Okay, the GOAT.
The GOAT. So that's what happened on this day in pop culture history. So
many great facts.
Yeah.
I like that.
This week of October has been quite eventful because not just this week, but this month, because someone in our midst is celebrating their birthday.
Who?
Oh my God! Wait, who is it?
It's our newest co-host, Brandi.
Oh yeah, she has a whole month.
She has a whole month.
Celebrate the whole month. And obviously with so many great things that Chris just mentioned manifesting in October, there's something in the Venus, Mercury, Moon rising or some shit like that, where stuff gets done. Bomb stuff gets done in October. That's all you need to know. Obviously.
No, that's a lot.
Just saying, can't argue with that.
I won't argue with facts. Who you think I am, Trump?
Come on now. You can't argue with facts. Who are you, DC?
I don't know. All I know is December's the best.
So
your hands need to be a little smaller.
Oh yeah.
So
I can't even eat a cheeseburger with these things.
With those midget hands.
Nubs.
No.
His
So-
fingers look like he bites his whole finger to get a nail off.
Oh, I thought you was gonna say it looks like he bites his whole finger when he tries to eat a burger. That's what I thought you were going.
Oh,
for.
that too, but that too.
They look like pale sausages.
Cannot
They look like
imagine.
those sausages you see, those sausage links you see on a commercial, and you know they're not done.
Oh, they're not done?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what they look like. I'm like, ugh, poor Melania. Like, I know she just thought she was she just knew she was just getting married to a millionaire, and that was just gonna be it. And now look at you.
Broke as
Lonnie, would you
food.
like some sausage?
Never put that man in.
I'll
Never put
pass.
that man in the same sentence as Trump. Tom Green is a
God.
Canadian legend next to Ryan Reynolds.
Is the Tom Green Show. Tom
Yeah, I miss
Green
that
Tom
show.
Well, speaking of shows that we're gonna miss because they ended their season this week, these past 2.5 months have been emotional. They have been educational. They have been thought-provoking and conversation starters. And I'm talking about Lovecraft Country. This show has managed to upend anything, every question that you had about Black people being the leads in sci-fi, supernatural, horror, drama, action, romance, drama. This solves all of that. This puts the nail in the coffin and says it can be done, and it needs to be done more often.
Way more often.
Way more often. This show, and before we go on, look, I would say spoiler alert, but fuck that. It's been a week.
Yeah, you should be on it.
2 days later, it's over. Ain't no spoiler
yeah.
alert after
You
2
know,
days.
That's
you
how I
you only
feel.
get a 72
48
hour
hours.
grace period. That's
48.
it.
That's it.
You know,
It came on what, Sundays?
Yeah, Sundays.
Yeah.
By Tuesday, if you ain't seen it, you ain't getting it.
Yeah,
That's a
but
wrap.
by Tuesday, it's probably gotten spoiled for you.
No, I've had some episodes get like semi-spoiled, but I didn't understand. But I like those memes that'll say this week's episode without spoilers, and it's just pictures. So I'm like,
What the
why
fuck
am I
is
looking
that?
at this Super Saiyan? What does this mean?
Yeah.
And then when you watch it, you're like, oh my God.
There
This
was
is
a
so
moment.
good.
Look, there's a couple. I think it was episode. It might have been. I'm trying to think. It might have been episode. It was the Hippolyta episode. I had just seen it, and I text Brandi. I'm like, "Did you see it yet?" And she's like, "No." And I just put, "Get your ass home right now and watch this damn episode."
Except we put just each of the letters. So it's
Yeah,
like
I did the
Black Mom
acronym.
style.
GY, yeah, old black mom style for sure.
Yeah.
I was out
but-
like, I gotta go home. I gotta see this episode.
So we're going to start at the beginning. We're going to start at the first episode. We're going to break them down, talk about what this show meant to us, and we're going to talk about like the favorite moments that happened in this show.
So many. How do you even decide?
So first off, first episode opens up with the craziest fever dream I've ever seen in my life. And we didn't know what the fuck was going on. So we'll start there. Everything that was put into context throughout the next 10 episodes, well, nine episodes after that, made sense, especially after episode 9. You were looking at a green alien, you were looking at Cthulhu, you were looking at war, you were looking at Jackie Robinson. You didn't know what the hell was going on, and we're just like, okay, this dude just having a really freaky dream right now.
Acid
You
trip,
eat tacos
man.
before bed. Like, what
Never
was
eat tacos
happening?
before bed. What they say,
There's
never eat pork.
something.
Never eat pork before you go to lay down. That's what.
I'm like, what was they having in 1950? That was a wrap.
So we'll break some of this down. So basically, Lovecraft Country starts off with Atticus Freeman, Tick for short, because like Letty said, Atticus is a mouthful.
I bet it is.
I hope you. All right.
I mean, have you anybody that's what? Have you seen that man? Have you seen him? Man.
No.
So it opens up with him getting a letter from his father. And him and his father have a very strained relationship. They really don't talk at all. And it comes to find out
my father.
him and his father, his father's been missing. That's what it opens up with. So he goes home. This is in 1950s Jim Crow era. He goes home to Chicago to his uncle to find out what's going on. They go on a road trip. And this episode is called Sundown Town. And this is the episode where every horror trope that you can think of was flipped on a dime amongst the racism that was being peppered throughout the show.
And they don't hold back on that, and I can appreciate that, because we've been seeing something as subtle but still very sad to me with him and the only other Black woman that were trying to get on the bus to go, and they're basically left with their own bags. And I'm like, this is really what y'all had to deal with?
Yeah.
Like day in and day out, none of us would even be able to make it a month, and what they had to live through almost their whole lives. Down. Listen,
there were some intense moments, and just in not just the show in itself, but this episode, because I'm just like, oh, we're that show. We are not pulling punches, and
they're using the hard eye.
Yeah, when they're in the diner. Yeah, when they're in the diner.
What are you doing around here, nigger?
Yeah.
But, I mean, he meant that. He meant it was too natural for me.
Way too natural.
I was like, why are you so comfortable as an actor? Like,
how can you say it with why is your R's rolling like that?
I mean,
like you said this before.
Effortlessly.
It reminded me of that teacher off of the when they was doing the Boondocks. She's like, my nigga. My nigga. You've been saying this a little too long.
It reminded me of when Sam Jackson was on a Quentin Tarantino set. Don't ask me which one, because he's been in just about all his movies. And somebody had to say it, and Sam Jackson,
Django, because
that's what it was. It was Django.
It was Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, and Sam Jackson goes over to Leonardo and says, "Motherfucker, we hear this every other day. Just go ahead and get through the scene."
I like that. At least he struggled with it. I'm like, okay, Leo, maybe you can come to the cookout. At least
you
struggled.
What now? Nick.
At which point,
nobody gonna hit me, right?
At which point, I can hear Sam Jackson actually saying,
"Come on, motherfucker,
just get it over with."
And you think about how long they're on set. We're not gonna be 17 hours on set. You can't say it.
You scared to say one goddamn word? We got a word. I got chicken in the back. Wrap this shit up, nigger.
Wrap it up. Right.
Nigger. All right, he said it. Let's go.
Right. You don't need no more takes. That like after the second time, you be like, all right, you get too comfortable now.
Yes, no
take
more
47.
I didn't feel like I really got the R out the way
did I stutter on the NG? I can do it again.
I can do it again.
Take it from the top.
So it goes. So back to Lovecraft. So it goes.
Sorry,
it goes back. We go off the rails all the time. This is just us. So they're in a diner, and Letty or Letitia fucking Lewis.
Okay.
Just happens to go in the back where she noticed one of the workers on the phone calling whomever, and her next response is, "We need to get the fuck out of here." And she's darting out the door. She's not even waiting on anybody else.
She's black people,
doing what she do best.
Yeah.
Black people run. You don't ask no questions. You get the fuck up out of there. We meet up at a spot. You be like, what we run for? Oh man, I see somebody else.
We'll explain when we stop. Right now, we just go.
So it starts with them. Basically, it's a car chase. They're getting down there. They're on the freeway. They're being chased by the Proud Boys. Whatever.
Well, armed and ready, just to kill. All because they wanted something to fucking eat. I would have never made it.
Yeah. So
wouldn't have made it back then.
This is when the mysterious silver car shows up, causes them to crash. Basically, everybody in that car is dead, and they're still being chased, or they get headed off. I think they got headed off, and it was the sheriff. It was like the next county, and it was the sheriff. So everybody's in on this action. And by this time is sundown. They get pulled over. And it's not sundown yet. They get pulled over by the sheriff. The sheriff, who's racist, is like, all right, well, you need to be getting out of here. You know,
no, wait a minute.
And he wasn't saying it nearly as calm and clean as I'm saying it.
Oh, not at all. And even before they got to that point, can we just take a moment to say, at least to me, that was probably the second scariest moment in the whole entire series, which is saying a lot because there were demons and monsters and stuff everywhere. But to see them driving and Letty in the back with the gun, and they're trying to make it past the state line or county line before the sun goes down, that was terrifying for me. I was so tense just watching it. All like
you
that was
try
real
going from
shit.
Akron to Cuyahoga Falls that night.
That's not at all. No,
that's scary.
So it became this moment where Uncle George and Letty, they're staying in the car and they're trying to keep calm. And you're talking about something that's relevant even now, in today's society. And Tick is playing the role perfectly. He's answering the questions, but he's doing it like, I'm not your average black dude. I'm not stupid. And the sheriff is picking up on it.
Oh yeah, which is dangerous because you cannot be a smart nigga. You just can't.
Yeah,
and I loved how they played that. Whoever wrote that, I love that scene with them because Letty very much feels like how a lot of black women would feel like we just need to shut up and make it through this moment.
Yeah.
We just like put your head down, don't say anything. The fact that the shotguns were being cocked like right here by their fucking heads. And he's answering the question. He's not saying anything wrong, but we know you can't say shit. You're not supposed to say anything.
Right. And so then he pretty much looks at his watch and says, you don't have but what was it, 7 minutes to get out of here? And they're like almost 10 to 12 away from the county line.
Oh, yeah.
So not only do they have to get out of there, they can't speed. So Uncle George, he gets him out of there, but the sheriff is tailing him the whole time. And they make it out, but then guess what? The next county is the same way. And so they get pulled over. They're in the woods. Now by this time it's dark. They get all three of them get taken out the car. They get traveled into the woods. And this is when all hell breaks loose. And not what you think happens. They get attacked. At least all the police officers do.
There were only like 2 left.
Yeah, it was the Shoguns, as they call them. They're calling them the Shoguns. Can't really describe these creatures so much, but they start tearing all these officers new ones, and they're eating them, and they're tearing limbs off, and everything else. Uncle George,
if, the monsters from Tremors mixed with a dog. I love Tremors. Okay.
Yeah.
Mixed with a dog and a lizard.
Mixed with a dog.
And a dog and a lizard. And that was.
You watched that scene. They looked like
they did like Pomona dragon, Tremor, dog monster.
Like a Godzilla type lizard.
What it is. Yeah.
It was very
creepy.
And Uncle George gets knocked down in all the commotion. Letty and Tick make it to a house. In all the commotion, they lose Uncle George. This is probably the only offshoot horror trope that happened, but Uncle George played it smart. He stayed down. He fell down, he stayed down. And he didn't move.
Get your bucket ass back up.
Don't get up. He's like, I ain't getting up. Whatever's attacking him, I ain't getting up. I'm gonna play dead.
No, he did. He stayed down as they ran to like a random cabin in the woods. So it was interesting to see all these horror nods mixed in like that first episode, because of course there's the cabin in the woods for you to run to.
Exactly. So they go to the cabin in the woods along with the sheriff's deputy and the racist sheriff, and they're trapped in there. And he's like, this is your hatred for black people knows no bounds, because you just watched pretty much everybody you work with get killed or torn to shreds by some unknown monsters. And you're still like, but I don't trust you, nigga. Whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, your hatred
still held the gun on him, and they were trying to help him, because one thing I like that they established from jump is that the black people in this world, they are smart, they read, and they know how to bring up stuff as it's needed. Because the fact that Uncle George was like, hey, giving nods to Dracula, like what happens when people are getting bit or they're scratched, and they're already ahead of the game. And I loved seeing that from episode 1, because I was like, okay, we're not going to have to go through a whole season where everybody's trying to figure out a lot of stuff. It's like we're already here. And so that was really cool to see, but very ignorant of him, because I'm like, buddy, there's 4 of us in this bitch. Well, excuse me, when he came, so 5.
Yeah,
you're already hurt and you're scared of the black people.
Yeah, right. You just seen what happened and you're still scared of us.
We didn't tear them up. Like, oh my God.
So he looks, and they're just like, we need to get to the car. And Tick, obviously being the hero, ex-Korean War vet and everything else, he's like, I'll go to the car. And the sheriff says, no, I don't trust you.
Boy, he ain't coming back.
Send her. And it was just like, dude, have you seen? And they literally said it. Have you seen what's out there?
Right.
And they're just like, whatever. And then Letty and Tick begin to pray. And Letty was like, it's okay. I ran track in high school. And when he opens the door, she's like a bolt of lightning. Usain Bolt ain't got nothing on her because
the Flash.
Yeah, she was actually in Flash Paradox. I don't know if y'all knew that.
Yes, she was.
Look at these. No, she wasn't.
No.
All right,
she should have been.
But I know she took off like Jackie Joyner.
Oh yeah, and made it to the car. The car obviously didn't start, but she noticed that these things are still attacking, and it landed on the hood of the car. Hood of the car. She grabs her camera, flashes her camera, hits the flash on it, scares it off. Then the car starts up, makes it to the cabin, crashes into the sheriff because the sheriff was bit, and now he's changing into one of them.
He looked crazy as hell.
Yeah, and she came and talking about a nigga time, Letty, Journey Smollett, and we putting respect on your name. And for the record, Juicy Smollett, we know.
That's one.
Journey Smollett. You, what they call it? You are not the weakest link.
At all. At all.
But she handles her business. And that was the moment where I'm like, yeah, I'm invested now. I see what I need to see. I'm invested now. I want to know more. I want to see what's going on. And
because it was so unexpected, especially because I haven't read the book. A lot of people haven't.
I will now.
So it was, I'm going to do it. I very rarely watch something and then read the book. Or if I read the book, I'm like, I'm not going to watch it because I don't want to be that person that's like, the book was better.
Almost like the gatekeeper, yeah.
Listen, I hate that. Hate it. But
they didn't keep up with the movie standards.
Yeah, that, all that. There wasn't enough content in the book. I'm like, the movie's only 2 hours.
I mean, in the book, J.K. Rowling really puts it in perspective.
I hate it so much. But it was unexpected as hell because I didn't know, even with the super trailer for the season, I didn't know what to expect. So when you just see monsters, we're this show. And it wasn't a dream. It was very real. And to have them just show up, I think that's when they went to Artem at the end of the show.
Yeah.
And they're just bloodied like, this is the night we just experienced. And none of that goes away. It just amps up from there.
Yeah. So now I'm not going to go into description for the next 9 episodes, but I will say this was the bookmark that said, damn, for me, this was, damn, I'll be watching this live.
Like real time that night.
We would get off Chris, be like, Lovecraft Country. I'm gonna go ahead and bounce out real quick.
Right. Like, are we done? We done yet? We done?
Are we done?
Chris is like, hey, yo, Lovecraft Country. We gonna end this show soon, right?
Because those tweets and memes get started quick, and it was almost how I felt about watching Scandal and Power. Like, if I miss that night, I'm screwed because these people are gonna come out and they're gonna spoil it. So yes, must see TV.
So that wasn't my favorite episode. That was one of my favorite moments. Brandi, I know you watched as much as I did. I want to hear what you thought about.
Man.
The show as a whole, your favorite moments and all that.
The show as a whole, and I already told him, I was like, I didn't wear makeup for this episode because I was like, probably gonna cry, just because this is how much the show meant to me. And the characters I liked the most were, I liked Letty, but she wasn't like the fan favorite. I was definitely Ruby all fucking day long because anytime I see a bigger woman in anything, I'm rooting for her, right? But especially when you are Chocolate and we don't see us enough in these roles where we actually matter and her character mattered. And from jump when she's being introduced and the dynamics between her and her lighter sister, I could not get enough of her character and how they carried her through the show. And she was important. And there's so many times where you see certain people and you're like, well, you're going to be a character they kill off, maybe episode 3 or whatever. And they didn't do that with essential characters. So I really enjoyed Ruby, probably too much. I surprisingly found Christina to be a favorite for me because I could relate to her as a woman who decided no matter fucking what, I'm going to get what I want. And we don't do that enough because typically you're talked down to or punished for going after what you want, whether it be a job, and it's a struggle, whether it be something sexually, you're just constantly reminded to stay in your place. And she had to experience that several times with, like Chris said, we're not trying to spoil it too much, but other members of a certain order and everything, that sexism was still real for her. And I could understand that, although I don't approve of the moves that she made. It's one of those things where she's a villain, where I have to put her in the Thanos category, like where I understand where you were coming from. So I enjoyed as a whole how this series portrayed women, and that we were valued and important and essential. Even that last episode, what were you going to do without your ancestors? Who were what? Women. What were you going to do without calling on us? You know what I mean? And even Hippolyta, again.
Hippolyta.
Like, get out of here. Her episode alone and how this show portrays women, it was crazy for me as a Black woman, because I'm like, I like seeing her body because she does appear naked in the episode. And it wasn't objective. No, you asked. It wasn't objectifying her.
I didn't say I was gonna go watch it.
It wasn't objectifying her, and I can appreciate that, because a lot of times when a Black woman comes on the scene. Well, a lot of times when a Black woman comes on the scene, we're objectified. So she was strong, and that episode was really important. And she made the choice to choose herself, because after something tragic happened to a character that, I ain't gonna lie, well, you know what? We can put it out there because we already said, spoiler alert. I was expecting the whole fucking season for Uncle George to come back, because I am so used to any type of paranormal, supernatural show you watching, nobody's ever really, really dead. They come back, and he knew too much. Like when the episode with the Whiteys on the moon, the second episode, I want to say. George, what I love so much about him is you're book smart in this fantasy way. And it didn't have to be an Einstein way. You're literally calling on these fantasy novels that you read, and it's helping you guys right now. And I was like, what are we going to do without that? However, appreciating the season later, had he not passed, we would have never got Hippolyta to the point that we got her, because she was stuck in that role of mother and wife, and women just get stuck so much in titles other than what I am. And it's like, I'm me before anything else. Before I decided to be anything else, this is who I am. And I can choose to wear those other hats, but what I am to me is the most important thing. So I can't speak highly enough for how this show portrayed women. And then was also still scary as fuck. Because baby, them little demon sisters.
Oh, God.
I still have nightmares, no lie. Like, I have a long hallway I have to walk down before I get to my place. And what makes it worse, no, kid you not, what makes it worse, one time I'm coming down, right? There's a door to go to the stairs before you go down my high rise, and there's like a little square window there too. The light before you get to my place was already flickering because they need to fix the light bulb. On top of that, and this is all the same week I saw this fucked up episode. On top of that, the exit sign is hanging down a little bit. Like, it's crooked. I was just like,
what the fuck knocked that thing down?
Not going down this hallway.
That's how I felt. I'm like, do you want to go home or do you want to just stay down the hall? Because
you got a Batman grappling hook? I can just shoot up the window.
Nightmare fuel. The costume design, the costume and the set design. Let's just give it up for that on this show.
Yeah.
They worked their asses off on that. Because I've only got to be an extra one time, but I appreciate, now that I had been behind the scenes, what these people really do with these costumes, with this makeup. Like, it's insane, the detail that they put in there. Because I like to watch shows and look at the background and just see, like, okay, y'all were really on point. Like, from how they wrote these spells out in the book of names and everything. I'm like, this was so well done, and it was about time we had like this supernatural Black adventure show for us, because we don't get that as the cast being pretty much predominantly Black. We don't get that. We're like one or two Black characters, if that. And they did not mess around, and they didn't go cheap, because that's one other thing I don't appreciate about some Black shows. Shout out to Tyler Perry and the wigs. They end up going cheap. They end up going cheap when they shouldn't go cheap, and everybody was just so on point. So oh my God, I can't. I'm mad that it's over.
When you mention Hippolyta, and then you mention the episode with oh God, it's hard to mention Diana's episode without mentioning how that episode opened up. you know, it opens up with the death of her friend. Let's rewind it. Let's take this back.
Because that was episode 3 with the house.
Episode 3 was the house where Letty gets this money to buy this house in this white neighborhood. Now the house has like 13 rooms or something like that. So she figures, I'm gonna buy this house and I'm gonna help people from my neighborhood who are in between jobs or trying to find jobs and trying to find a spot to live, that they can post room and board here. So she's giving back to her community, but it's in a white community she's living in. She's doing the right thing. She throws a house party, a housewarming, and it seemed like everybody on the south side of Chicago.
That house party looked bomb.
Yeah, they was up in this house.
Music, they were doing it big.
They were getting it in. Well, in the basement of this house, Dee and her 3 friends were down there, and they were doing something that black folks to this day won't touch: playing with Ouija boards.
Oh, fuck no.
Yeah. And so one of the friends said, you know, they all have their hands on the thing. And they says, one of the friends says, well, I have a good summer. And the thing points to no. And it wasn't until the next day when I'm looking at all the comment sections and everything else, they were saying, oh, he's wearing an outfit that was similar to Emmett Till. And I'm like, okay, so they referenced Emmett Till. I didn't know, because they didn't call him Emmett. I didn't know that they called him Bobo. I didn't know that was Emmett Till's real nickname. I didn't know that until they do the episode with Dee, where they open it up with Emmett Till's funeral, which was considered the hottest day of the summer. And all of Chicago, all the black people of Chicago came to this funeral. It was an open casket because the way this child was murdered. And just butchered. And the mother wanted it to be an open casket just to let them know this is what they did to my child.
And that was important to have in a show like this, because you're not just getting the fantasy and the excitement that we're mentioning and the great costumes and dialogue. You're getting history lessons. You're learning about things that a lot of us didn't learn about unless somebody told us when we were older, because they damn sure ain't going to tell us and teach us in school. Through a show that you're enjoying. And I never knew that the casket ended up being like glass at the top because it was so hot in his body and the smell. So they had to they still wanted him to be seen, but it couldn't be just a regular open casket. And I'm like, I never knew that. And I've seen the pictures.
Yeah, but they don't look like it
in the pictures that you look at it, you're just like, it looks so surreal, you know. And you're talking, so now here you're dealing with Diana, who, now before I go on, everything that's going on in this episode or in this show, I didn't think about it till like the following day. This was 9 episodes, 8, what was it, 7 or 8, I think it was. Yeah, whatever. That I realized, I'm like, oh, her mother's name Hippolyta. Why wouldn't her name be Diana? Damn it.
That was a cool tie-in. I didn't catch that until the end of the season either. Because you're so stimulated by everything else going on. You're not even, it's one of those series. Yeah, it's one of those series I know I'm going to watch 2 or 3 more times, and I'm going to catch something new each time that I didn't before, because it was just well done. Even what was her name? Because I felt like she was done wrong at the end. His little Asian boo.
Oh yeah, help me out. Gia.
Her episode, I would say that was one of the first episodes. Because I've had episodes where I've had moments where I'm like, God, is there water leaking from my face? I feel like I'm gonna cry. Her episode was the first one I felt throughout the whole episode. You have me on the breaking point. That girl was acting her ass off. I was on edge every single scene. And I like that you got to see the fact that, yes, Black people go through, but there were other people of color that go through too. And just to see how that works when you're both in the same setting and you still have a common enemy. But now I'm above you because I got this uniform on, and this uniform is transcending over the color of my skin. So I'm straight popping your friends. What were they in Korea?
Yeah.
I'm popping your Korean friends like it ain't shit. And I'm like, Tick, what is going on? Like, is this why you're so messed up? But they did her dirty when she came to the house, because I'll be damned.
Yeah.
If all that happens, you talk to me crazy and I help you later on. Listen.
Yo, look, man,
he knew who to talk to like that, because Letty wasn't having it.
Oh hell no.
He knew
he did the typical brother. He did the typical brother when he was like, I got to get her the hell out of here because I'm with Letty. I love You know, yeah, like, but God, dog, he like what we had wasn't real. Boom, boom, boom. Now get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it was the get the fuck out part. I'm like, are you you guys obviously,
and you can see it in her face when he said it.
That girl was acting, and I'm like, and you guys obviously had a trauma bond because her episode was episode 6.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
You guys obviously had a trauma bond dealing with him being so separated from home, on top of the racism that he knew he was dealing with there, and having to go home because she was thinking, oh, you go back to America, you're living life, you can introduce me to Judy Garland, right? It's like, baby, we all in the same boat when we go over there. It is not a paradise, but her even saying that just lets you know how bad it was for them in real life, not even in the show, just real life. This is awful for us. So obviously when you go back home, you're living a better life, right? And just being in a traumatic environment like that and experiencing that, of course you guys bonded in more ways than just physically. So for him to just verbally abuse her like that, I'm like, y'all.
It falls under that trope of the traumatized becoming the traumatizers.
Pretty much.
That's what it became.
Hurt people, because I'm like,
abused could be abusers.
You're right.
It was awful, but her episode was so like lovely, and even the fact that I guess she never got the demon out of her, she just learned how to live with it. Yeah. Like
whatever, she finished off the task, but at the same time, she almost became humanized again because of Tick, because like it was the first person she actually had loved, and she felt this, and then her mother had died, so she had all these emotions going on, and no way to verbalize them, no way to internalize. She just stuck.
Pretty much.
And didn't know what to do with it. And but
so
when he told her that,
that was really a great episode, I think, for like anybody to watch, but especially people of color, because I think a lot of us can get into this mindset of we always have it worse than everybody else. And it's not that I don't believe that most of the time, but there are other people of color that are also in the same boat, and they're struggling and have struggled as well. So I like that they went into that at least for an episode. They definitely didn't still drag that theme, because it was definitely still Black folks versus everybody. Yeah. But I like that they at least for one episode decided we're going to highlight this. Now, a character I did not expect to end up loving, because I fucking hated him. You know, I was not here for Tick's daddy, because I was missing George so much. And Montrose. I was like, fuck Montrose, he can go to hell. I was not
Michael K. Williams. This is how you know when, and this is always a good thing to know, when you have an actor who does a role and you can't stand that character for he acted his ass. This entire, let's put this out there, this entire cast acted their ass off.
Yeah.
But Michael K. Williams playing the role that he played, like you're just like, he won't stop drinking. He talking to Tick all crazy. No wonder Tick don't want to be bothered with.
And they're like Indiana Jones episode, what I call it for episode
That's what
4.
It was. Yeah.
I was like, you know, I don't like you or trust you, but I also realize that they need you. And the fact that somehow, some way, because I can never do it, you've read these books and scrolls and memorized them, so you're just off dome saying shit. So we obviously need you.
Well, see, this is what happened. When he mentions, like in a later episode, that he was dyslexic, and I'm like, oh fuck, no wonder he can read the Book of Adam and the Book of Name, because this shit looks backwards to him. It was already clicking. So for him, he was just like,
okay.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I'm dyslexic.
Lovecraft, they're coming through.
So they were really hitting on some notes, but it wasn't. I think that was episode 9, 1921. Yeah, 1921 rewind. This was the episode that, you know, because Montrose mentions it several times throughout the duration of the series, where they talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma. The Tulsa, Oklahoma, they called it riots. It was a massacre. That's what it was. And oh God, it was intense. But this was the episode where Hippolyta returns, you know, with the blue, you know, she returns. She returns and everything. She's just like, and she's confident and she knows what's going on. And by this time, D has been cursed. But
side note, Hippolyta is confident because she came in with no explanation, baby. She was like, okay, where's my kid?
They like, they was like,
where you been?
Yeah, Montrose was like, Hippolyta, where you been? And she was like, that don't matter right now.
Yeah, they never even addressed it. It was just like breezing past. And you know what? They probably didn't think about it this deep, but maybe they did because the show is just so well written. But I'm like, kudos to you for having a moment where a woman can come in after being gone and just decide, I'm going to be a mother now, because we're so used to men just being like, there's not seminars to teach men how to be more selfless. You know what I mean? Like they just know how to think about themselves first. They handle their business first. They're rarely chastised for it. Which is why it's so easy for them to break away from a family and just leave a kid hanging.
Or get a pack of cigarettes and
never come back because I'm going to get some milk and just never come back.
Daddy need a pack of Cools. I'll be right back.
And if a woman ever ran out for some Newports and never came back, she'd be crucified because you're not supposed to do that. So I like that Hippolyta got to come back and not explain herself but to nobody but Diana. Like, you know what? I owe you an explanation. I don't owe the rest of you shit. Like,
Mama went to be a temptation for a minute.
Yeah, she went to but she comes back armed and ready, and she says, "We have to get the book of names." And they all say, well, Montrose says, "Well, the last time this book was seen was in the Oklahoma massacre, in the riots, and it was burnt up." And she's like, "I can get you there." And they're like looking at her like, "Oh, wait a minute, wait." Now you didn't introduce time travel into this whole show.
At the end of the season.
Yeah. And she says, she goes to this machine where she initially disappeared in the episode I Am. And she was like, "But this thing needs a motherboard." And they're like, "What? A what?" And she's like, "It needs a motherboard. It needs like a computer." And I'm like, "Where the hell are we going to get that?" "I'm the motherboard." Hold on. She jacks herself in, opens up a portal, sends Tig, Letty, and Montrose to 1921 Tulsa, Oklahoma. And this is where I was pissed at Montrose in the beginning of the episode, but by the end I understood him. When Letty and Tig jump through the portal, and Montrose is standing there, and he's hearing all those voices, he's remembering all those memories and stuff. I'm screaming at the television like, "Motherfucker, jump through the portal! We ain't got all day, We trying to get this book so we can get this spell so we can save Diana's life, so we can get Christina's ass. We trying to save people here."
But he did such a great job acting like an asshole. You had, at least until that episode, you had little to no sympathy for him being traumatized and thinking about people that are traumatized from these massacres that have happened in real life. Because if anybody watched that show and just thought, "Oh, that was crazy," they wrote the hell out of that. That was a real thing that happened.
It was a very real thing. So to
see your friends and your families hunted and burned and everything in their own utopia, because this was Black Wall Street, baby. Like, this was a big deal, a huge plot of land where there were banks and there are all these businesses, and we were running our own utopia. And for it to be apparently, this was very kind of Emmett Till in the start, because I think it started in real life because somebody thought this white woman coming off an elevator had been raped or touched or something by a black guy. And instead of letting this man do a fair trial or whatever, the lynch mob came out like,
they just lost their minds.
Yeah, we just want blood. And I'm just like, this is fucking crazy.
Rosewood.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. And it wasn't the first one. So if anybody's listening and you want to do your own homework, it was not the first time this has happened.
And it's happened constantly over in history. It's just constantly
I saw
happened.
Like some propaganda, like some newspaper articles that the New York Times was printing off and putting out there. Because 1919, I want to say, like a few years before the massacre happened in Tulsa, several outbreaks of the same behavior happened because all this media content came out like blacks are preparing to murder and massacre whites, or like on site and all the rest of this. And I'm just thinking, what? We're talking about the beginning of the early 1900s, okay?
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me right now? If anything, people want to be left alone. People want to be free. People want to have the opportunity to start over. And I highly doubt that this was really going to happen. But to play devil's advocate, if it was going to happen, can you fucking blame them for how you treated people for hundreds of years?
Exactly.
God damn. Like, the only reason you even come up with something like that is that white guilt. You feel guilty for how you know you've treated people, and you're anticipating motherfuckers to get you back. You're anticipating it. And for them to just act first in this way, and it's not like everybody of color was going to be armed, because the way that we are blackballed from ownership of things, come on now. just going to be unfair across the board.
Once again, something that's currently still happening.
While you're playing, because people don't think it's still happening, and redlining and all of that is still very. It's
still
real.
a major thing. Yeah. So they make it back. Montrose finally jumps through the portal. They figure out, okay, we need to go to our ancestors' house, which is where George and Montrose stay next door. And they get there, and they get there and they see Montrose's father beating a young Montrose because Montrose was wearing George's tux or his
he put
tux,
his,
and he put like the corsage in his head. And he was like, not in my house. And he's not beating with a switch though. He was beating him with a whole branch.
That was the whole last tree. Yeah.
And I'm like, this dude, I'd be traumatized too. So he's beating him because even then Montrose was dueling with his sexuality, number one. Number two, his father was abusive as hell and showed more love towards George than anything. And this was the same day where he lost everybody he loved except for George. He lost it. It was a friend of his that they were kind of having a thing, but he had to tell him that day, we can't be friends no more because, quote unquote, he's a faggot. That's just what he says. And it killed him inside to have to relive all of this. And now you understand why Montrose is the way he is. You understand the fear. You understand the anger.
And then even Tick, like, by his side, because Montrose, of course, beaten the hell out of Tick growing up.
Yeah, because it's what he knew. It's all he knew.
And from the jump, even when they got to that portal, Tick was pissed because Montrose was already drunk. Because he already knew, I'm going to have to see some shit and deal with some shit. Yeah. And I still haven't dealt with this shit.
And he told him, and because he's like, I can't, he pretty, before all of this happened, he was like, I can't even count on you for this. Really now? And then that's when everything starts boiling down and you see it. And this was the episode where it really hit the fan because this happened on, what was it, their prom night, I think this was?
Yeah, because the girls had come in and they were like, they canceled a dance.
Yeah.
And nobody was sure like what was happening because it still hadn't really hit them yet.
It was so intense. And Tick had to go with Montrose to handle business. Letty had to go to the ancestors' house to get the book of names. And that's where it just, two powerful scenes are broken down and in a way that just made you say, oh shit, what the fuck? So we'll start with Letty. We'll start with Letty because she's doing her thing, and you know, Letty's got her, she basically got her Skechers on. That's what she's got.
Listen, because when I tell you, baby, she clocked them shoes so quick. The way she looked at her, I was like, she know.
Well, I think it was like Tick's great grandmother or something like that.
The first thing she looked at was the kids. And I was like, talk about an observant woman, because I wouldn't have caught that right away.
They were just like, who are you? And she had to make up something, this whole thing, and they had to wear the same outfits everybody was wearing. But those shoes gave it away, and Tick's ancestor looked at them shoes, and she didn't even say nothing. She just knew something was up.
Oh, yeah, it was that face she gave. She was...
Yeah. Like, you ain't telling the whole story.
Basically.
And so when it all starts to boil down, nightfall hits, and, you know, the crazy racist white folks start showing up in town and shooting up and tearing up shit. And Montrose and George's daddy, this is the time I was siding with him, because they came up there right when they were chasing Letty down. They were chasing her down and they shot her. And this is where she forgot she had a spell on her that makes her invulnerable.
Yeah, so she was definitely in the Matrix, baby.
Yeah, she failed. And then that's when she realized, oh shit, bullets can't hurt me. Let me get my ass up. And she gets up, runs in the house. They lit her in the house, and Montrose and George's father literally looks at all those white people, says, come on, I got enough bullets for all y'all crackers. And he just starts firing off shots. And I'm just like, okay, now I like you. I didn't like you before, but now I like you.
They came ready, because I liked that scene. And then also the scene from the Haunted House episode 2, where it was a very unspoken. As soon as the white boys started basically coming and taunting them and trying to terrorize them out of the neighborhood, I like that the men especially came to the rescue. Like, they let Letty do her Beyonce thing and bust these cars up, but they also stood by with their guns. And I'm like, I need more of that visually.
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't so much it wasn't so much protection, it was support.
Oh yeah,
that's what it was. It was like you don't need. And you didn't
have to beg. She didn't have to beg for it.
Right.
It wasn't something she had to earn. Didn't have to explain. It was just you went right into it. And I'm like, again, I do not know how much thought goes into each scene with the writers, but I'm just like, that meant a lot to me as a Black woman, who a lot of times you don't feel protected, or even like we talked about before when we're going to these cons and stuff. I always like when a guy, or especially a guy of color, just lets me know, I see you, I got your back if anything happens, or someone makes you feel uncomfortable. That's huge, right, without me having to say anything, or you know what I mean? Like, that's a big deal. So yeah, both of those scenes, because they were ready to bust them white boys.
Oh my God. They came at the ready. So when they let her in the house and she's telling them, and you know, she kind of makes up this story of who she is. Tick's grandmother, great ancestor, whoever, great grandmother, she clocks Letty, but she doesn't say anything. And then that's when it all starts going down. You know, the town is basically being bombed. Stuff is being broken. People are shot, beaten, whatever. The house is being caught fire. And that's when Letty just tells the grandmother who she is. She tells her everything, because this grandmother is going to die. This is how it's supposed to go. And she's telling her, she's like, you have a great grandson and blah, 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 blah. And this, and this was happening. And right now I'm carrying that child and all this other stuff. And she's like, and I came for the book of names because we have to save his cousin and all this other stuff. And so she goes to this painting on the wall, and it's a safe in there. She pulls out the book, and the book, she has a letter on the book, and it says, we were never to open this book, but something tells me you're going to need it. And she gives her the book, and then she says, pray with me. So as she's praying with her, she gets fire caught to her dress, and she starts going up in flames. Now it's not affecting Letty because she has this spell on her, so the fire isn't even touching her. But she's holding this woman's hand, and they're doing the prayer, and it's the most gut-wrenching scene to see her stand there, do this prayer, who Letty was already struggling with her faith, but she's starting to come around, and she's praying with this woman, and at the same time knowing that she has to die, and she's watching her die right in front of her while she's holding this book. It was all for this book.
She was acting, because even right before she let go of her hand, because she had to, that was a crazy detail in the fact that when I let go of her hand, the rest of it burns, because that part of her hand that she was still holding, because she's invulnerable, it wasn't burning yet. And I'm like, what a great detail in a show to catch something like that, and then to burn afterward. Like, that was really, to know that everybody else died the way they did, because they were in a room where that door was still open, so you hear everybody else screaming and dying in your house.
And then she had to deal with
just
that.
Knowing that was real, like, y'all really burned and killed up, like,
everybody
for what?
And so while all of that is going on, in another part of that town, you have Montrose and Tick, and they're watching a young Montrose talk to his friend. I think his friend, what was it? I can't remember what the friend was, but it was basically his lover. But he was telling him, he was explaining to Tick, he was saying, this is the part where I tell him we can't be friends anymore because he's gay. And my father don't want me hanging around with you and all this other stuff. And he said, okay, but he's like, yeah, but then he dies right after that, because these white boys roll up and they chase him down and they shoot the friend point blank range in the head.
Right in the head.
And he's telling Tick this whole thing, and he's seeing it unfold all over again. He said, and right when they were getting ready to jump on me, here come George and your mother. No, was it George and his mother? Yeah. No, George, and it was I can't remember her name. But they come, and he said they came like the cavalry, and started swinging and beating them and everything else, and backing Montrose up and stuff. But he said, and this was the part of the story I never told anybody. And because, see, now they were being, the younger versions of themselves were being overwhelmed. And he says, and this was the part of the story I didn't tell anybody. He said a stranger shows up with a baseball bat like Jackie Robinson and starts swinging and beating and everything. And so Tick is watching everything unfold. And he's like, something's wrong. Something's wrong.
Because Montrose originally was going to stop it himself, and Tick told him, you can't.
He can't. He can't interfere. But he's like, but something's wrong. Where's the stranger? And right when Tick took a slight step forward, his foot hits a bat. And that's when it all clicked. Tick was the stranger.
That's literally when I was on my couch, like, bawling.
Yeah.
Like,
Tick was
tears.
the stranger. And I sat back and I'm like, oh my God, son of a bitch. Tick is I'm like, this was supposed to happen.
And then for him to, I can't see, y'all got me. You got me. For him to go through and protect his dad like that, because then there was still that conversation of I may or may not be your dad because I was out here with these men, and George is probably your dad, because when they had to save Diana and you're looking at like the next blood relative, they're like, you may not be it.
Yeah.
So that was crazy.
He was saying how I may not be your dad, but I sacrificed everything to be your father. And when Tick goes out there with that bat and just basically just hauls ass on everybody.
My favorite part is when he hit that one bitch. I was, yes! No mercy.
That was an equal opportunity ass whooping, because she came up and he hit her with the bat and knocked her down, and it was just like, hey, you came here, you can get this too.
I loved it because I think she had on her little dress. He knocked the shit out of her. I was like, yes to being like rated E for everyone. I am here for it. So drag them all.
It was one of those episodes where you just like, damn, but you were so glad the moment happened, because he went in and broke them all down. And then looked at the young Montrose and said, I got you, kid. Which is just what I was like, damn, all this time. So the dream, the fever dream we thought was a fever dream in the first episode wasn't a fever dream. This was just a combination of things to come. And he does that. And right before he goes out there with the bat, Montrose is breaking down, and it's the first time you see Tick and Montrose embrace as a father and son. Like, he gets it now. He gets what happens to Montrose when he was younger. He gets why he is the way he is, and now he can accept it. Now he knows it was this trauma that broke him. Like,
that's a lesson for, I think, anybody, because it's so easy to blame your parents for stuff that they could have, should have done better, instead of looking at them like you were a human being, and who knows how you grew up. Who knows what created what is raising me now? So to be able to be mature enough to have that empathy for, I see now how you grew up. And although it's not okay, I'm still going to be there for you. We can start over right now. So that episode had a lot of healing and dealing for the characters to do, but I felt like it was like therapy for anybody.
It was.
That was watching it. That was therapy. I'm like, I hope any Black man that goes through this, where their dads either aren't there, or you have a dad where it's like, my dad was in the house, but he was not emotionally there. It's like, so there's a lot of that going on too, where you'll financially provide, but you're not providing anything else. There. Yeah, you're not. And then you have to find out everything yourself. So I was really hoping that anybody that watched that, especially Black men, they got something from it, to see the different layers of, you can whoop ass, but you can also cry. And I know there's a running joke that Tick be crying all the time out of episodes.
Well, I understand. I know why.
But I'm like, okay, like, let him cry. Like,
this man been going through it.
Listen, forever. So I'm like, it is okay to see people that look like us cry, to be, like I said, multifaceted, to have that opportunity. Same for Ruby with her bomb ass episode, when she was going in and out of body snatching. So first of all,
Ruby,
I was not expecting that to be Christina the whole time. That
when
was
they were in that tower, the way she started talking, I'm like, something ain't right. Shit, that ain't Ruby.
What? I'm like, huh? Like, the body switching and taking the pose, they was definitely into some real ass Black magic. But to ask my my new co-host question, would you, since episode was a strange case episode 5 for Ruby?
Yes.
Would you guys take a potion to be white if you could? Because that's what she did. For those listening, she got to take a potion and just do simple stuff. Like people were making fun of the fact she got ice cream and sat on a park bench, but y'all don't understand.
That was a historical connotation that basically was saying like they couldn't do that back in the day.
Couldn't. And there was even
and they gave it to her for free on top of that.
Listen, she was like, "Oh, I ain't got it." And they're like, "Oh no, it's fine." I'm like, "You get free ice cream for being white since when?" Like
forever.
Put me on. I didn't know.
Whole house for free back in the day.
Listen.
So yeah, it was some.
Would I do
definitely
it?
some strong.
Yeah, but would you guys take some potion
No.
to be white?
I would. I don't have the. I don't have the need to do
As
so.
hard
I don't
as the
want
struggle
to.
is being black, I wouldn't give it up because it's so much we've done behind the scenes and in front of the scenes that why would I want to give that up? You know what I mean?
Right.
I would say no to who I am now, but if I had to grow up the way Ruby did, and especially because I already feel like I'm an undeniably black woman, but she has this gorgeous darker skin, and you already know the colorism is real in our community, let alone across the board. So just I can also understand her doing it, and probably would if I was in the 1950s too, from the sense of I want a break, I want the job, I want the life that I feel like I should have, but because of my skin or my size, it stopped. What'd you say? Oh my God, did someone say his name 3 times?
Oh, Jesus.
We said Screbuffle 3 times and he appeared in the comments.
Here we go. Oh my God.
It's like Beetlejuice.
That's just
like Beetlejuice.
Just appears. But a lot of people apparently had a problem with the amount of gore that would happen when Ruby would change.
That was the sickest way I've ever seen a transformation ever.
Loved it. I loved
that
it.
Was
I'm like,
so
what are you
crazy.
talking about? This is beautiful. Even the whole sex scene, and she literally bursts out of the body. I'm like, visually stunning. Yeah. Visually stunning. What Courtney talking about?
They
know something. But it was some. But to answer that question, no.
Well, let me ask you this. Now, if I change what my credit score gonna look like, and then where do I live?
That's what I'm saying. You change, you go get that loan, you go get that house.
Because if I get that credit score real quick and go back to me and be normal me,
and then go back,
keep all that shit, I'll do it.
Make that move.
That APR, that interest rate for the white boys.
I'm telling you, not the APR. You know we older.
The APR and the fiscal unit on that, you know,
the fiscal unit.
We got our kids in a good school district.
It looks good now with 10 years interest and equity. I could be paying $250,000 on that land.
You gotta diversify your bonds.
Yeah, you gotta
diversify the bonds. Exactly.
No, but if I could do that, if I could use that day and go and just clear up everything. Like, hey, I know this guy Darius. I want to clear out his credit score. And they're like, oh, for you, Bob, sure, we'll clear his credit.
They go right on because it's not like Ruby stayed like that forever. It was just enough time. So I'm like, you could get
give me enough time to.
You
just walk into a bank, they'd be like, Norm, here's your $1 million.
Here's your money.
Here's that extra 10,000 loan you needed there.
But I didn't ask for that. You didn't have to.
You're good. You're good for it, Norm. You're good for it. But
I would do it only for the benefits because let's face it, you know, there's an extra
and that's what she started to do. She got the job. I think the first was just the relief of, and then after that she was like, okay, well, let me get this job and let me do this. I did find it interesting that as a white woman, she started to treat the other darker girl that was there almost like she was being treated herself. So I found that interesting to play with those dynamics, because I think we all know some people of color where they end up making a certain amount of money, traveling in certain circles, and all of a sudden, even politically, it's like, are you not black anymore? I know that's right, Courtney. So it makes you feel like you're no longer one of us because you end up detaching. So it's interesting because that didn't even take long for Ruby to do. Right. She was not in this form very long. Her focus was on the wrong thing. Yeah, her focus absolutely.
Was on. So
well, we've seen that happen though. That's like it's the equivalent of people who are broke getting money for the first time, like a real significant amount.
Or they don't know how to act.
They don't know how to act. You'd be like, hey man, let me get $5. $5? Nigga, I only carry hundreds.
Or they'll tell you to get yourself together, and it's like,
like, let me get $5, Bob. Hey, here's 100. Keep the change.
Go apply yourself, nigger.
Pretty much. Hard R.
They'll do something.
But yeah,
with your
it
life.
was.
They call the police on you.
I couldn't do it. I mean, in a jokingly way, yeah, we probably would. But no, like you said, Brandi, knowing myself now, no, I just couldn't do it. But the show, and we just barely scratched the surface.
Oh, there's so many things.
What this show meant to just Black people and meant to people. Period. Like I said, they had the I Am episode had Josephine Baker, infused in it, and the homie Amazons. Which sidebar, the Dora Milaje from Black Panther the movie, their look is based off the homie Amazons. They were. And
I did not know that until I did that homework.
The homie.
Yeah, the way it sounds is the way it's spelled. The homie.
The big homie, man. He down the street, man.
But those women were fierce, and to see some of the pictures that I looked up online, there was only so many of them. But I'm just like, this is what I wanted to learn in history class. Like,
and you wasn't gonna get that no history class.
Of course, we weren't going to. That's a part of what we mean when we say white privilege, because
deserved America.
Our stuff are like electives that you learn in college. That's a part of the privilege we speak of. You got to go to special.
You got to pay for
our
it.
Stuff. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, you got to pay for it. Yeah.
So here's all this free white history. Go to college and pay
$10,000
about yourself.
Or like that meme we posted where it was like how the U.S. thinks they are, and it's Superman. It's like how you really are. It's Homelander. Like,
the Homelander.
You're fucking Homelander.
No, we're Superman. No, you're not.
In your history books, you are. The rest of the world, they seem Homelander.
Yeah, we're definitely
oh my
looking
goodness.
more like a Homelander situation.
In your books, you're Obama. Everybody else sees Trump.
You know what to say?
Not lying.
By the way, go vote, everybody. We can't afford no number 4. Please, we can't afford it. If
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened the first time. How did we end up here?
Nobody voted. Nobody.
Did they really just think, okay,
it was like the lesser two evils. It was like, oh, Hillary, Trump.
Well, I just said it out.
I'll take my
chances. Didn't help.
Let's roll the dice and see what happens.
Right.
Can't get Obama back.
We sure as hell wish. One could hope. Maybe on that earth that Hippolyta was at, he was.
Listen, I'm like, how we go through that portal, girl? Like, what motherboard can I get just right on my arms? Like, what can I? And the visuals they provided just for that I Am episode, I'm like, okay, cosplay girls. Like, what are we doing? Because there's just so many costumes.
These are LED strips, right? LED strips.
Yeah, I was like, how do I do? And even her being able, I think the last form she took was from, here I go again, tearing
her
up.
Orinthia,
the last form
Blue.
She took was her daughter's character. And I'm just like, my son draws, and it's interesting to see how.
And shout out, and I'm going to do this before you go ahead. I'm going to do this because like Hippolyta did. I'm shouting out Afua Richardson, who is the artist for everything on this show. And when I seen that work, I'm like, I know whose work that is. And when Hippolyta shouted her out, she was like, where did you learn to draw? When Diane says, where did you learn to draw? Oh, an artist named Afua showed me. I'm like, no, she didn't.
Shout out. And I'm like, this is the continuous support I want to see in production and writing, in and out of the community. And it's just so good. And to see how she viewed her mom. Yeah. Like, even when they had to have the hard conversation, because episode, 8, y'all, took us out the game. So we did watch it with the lights on. I watched that shit at 3 a.m.
That was your worst movie.
Like a dummy.
That's one with the little weird creep.
You already know.
Because
they was getting it. They weren't getting it. It was like TikTok dancing. I was like, okay. It was a lot.
Like I said, there's nothing worse than having something chase you down that no one else can see.
No one else can see.
Don't say that because look, man, for the longest time, you know how you leave the basement and you run upstairs and turn the lights on?
Yeah, absolutely. No, but these
one time when I was a kid, my cousin turned the lights out. It was pitch black. Dog, when I tell you, I ran and knew every inch of that house.
You pulled a Letty?
Man, hey, I turned corners. I didn't even know it was corners. I turned them shits with it.
You freaked out. So to see this be in real life, because I still say the scariest part of that episode to me was the first 10 minutes where the cop cursed her. And even having him spit on her.
And trip her? I gotta wonder how that actress felt in that scene. Now I know the spit ain't real, but to be yanked around like that and then
by the cops.
Yeah.
It has to be. It's one of those moments where you realize, even when Michael B. Jordan was talking about getting counseling and going to therapy after playing Killmonger, like some of these characters they go to so deeply, you'll find yourself being like, I hate white people. And it's like, okay, it's this character, but then you're also dealing with the fact that we, on a regular outside of a show, deal with these little microaggressive things that people aren't aware of, or they think we're making it up, or they're like, oh, you always bring it up race, because everything is about it. The historical context of how America was formed, all of it is about it. Like, you gotta bring it up.
On that note, I do a lot of driving for my job, and I go to a lot of different, and that's the crazy thing about my job, because in my job I deal with Trump people, Biden people, black people, white people, you know, all of them, every spectrum. So it just kills me to go to like the Trump supporters house and you see like 45,000 Trump make America great or keep America great, Trump Biden, back to police and all this stuff. And it's just like, dude, here I am, this big black guy coming into your house, and you have no choice but to smile and shake my hand and kiss my ass because I keep your people safe. And it's just, not that that's a great feeling, because, you know, I shouldn't be getting off on that, but it does feel good, because it's like, no matter what you believe in, right now, you need me more than I need you. So you might want to get off your high horse and realize that no matter what you think of, we all in the same boat at one point in time or another. We all need each other.
Right.
So it's just like, and this one dude was like, does my Trump stuff offend you, guy? No, not at all, because I'm still getting paid. I don't have to be
It's
here.
like sometimes they want to be provocative and they want it to bother you.
It's like
and when it doesn't, they want it to bother you.
And I think that's the thing I've learned in this job, is because, like I said, I go to so many different type of houses, so many different people. It's like some people are already on edge because their family members, you know what I'm saying, has this ailments. And now it's just like, here comes these black guys, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm about to do something.
It's almost like the ultimate fuck you.
Yeah, but it's just like, dude, you're not gonna get me to lose my job. I'm not about to go crazy in here.
Listen, we're not.
You don't touch me or spit on me. You know what I'm saying? You can say what you want. You can put as many hard R's and trumpers all up you want. I'm gonna walk out of here.
You're just like, oh, so you must not want this oxygen tank then? Is that what you're trying to do?
Bro, you start getting too disrespectful, nigga. I start packing that shit up like the niggas on the Titanic when the boat was going down.
Listen,
hey,
and I know you said,
hey, Jimmy, wrap that shit up. Hey, let's go now.
I know you said you probably shouldn't take a little bit of joy in that, but anytime me or like my ancestors, or I jokingly say like inner slave girl, can be like, hey, this is one for me and mine. I take that.
No. I would say I don't take pride in the fact. I take pride in my job. I take pride in the fact that every now and then you have this hillbilly guy who Trump signs all over the place, but when I'm in there, it's like, oh, thank you, sir. Oh, yes, sir. Oh, and I'm just like, damn. If I wasn't in here, I'd be a nigger. But today, I'm
yeah, you would. I like to call them out for stuff that they normally aren't used to being called out for.
Right.
So I remember at one of my jobs, because I have too many, a lady, I'm normally not dressed up at the first job. I'd get dressed up when I would have to work the bar at night. So they weren't used to seeing me all Beyonce'd out. I'm normally homeless. So she was like, oh my God, I almost didn't recognize you. You look so good. And I was like, oh yeah, thank you, Jen. Thank you, girl. And then she was like, yeah, it's like you look like you could be like walking onto like a hip hop video set or something. And I said, I'm sorry.
Called you a video.
Right. You look like, now
here's
hold
my
on
thing.
now.
What made this bad is, one, I have on like a Carl Thomas sweater. So I don't know what rap video set I'm going on fully covered.
She's doing Juicy.
Absolutely not. Second of all, I was like, so how come it couldn't be like a country video or, you know, a pop video? Like, what made you say hip hop? She's like, oh, I didn't. We weren't thinking.
Yeah.
You're stepping on your tongue again,
listen,
Jen.
make them uncomfortable, because the more we assimilate, the more they just think everything is okay.
I told you about the hood thing. I always wear a hood. I wear a big bright red one for work with my red shoes and my khakis. So I'm already looking like I'm going to do something. And you gotta have a mask on. So I got a black mask, red hoodie. Oh, big black guy walking in your house and you don't know what's going on. And I don't call ahead sometimes. I just show up at your shit.
Not just show up.
Hey, motherfucker. This one lady
Francine, he's
like,
here.
Yeah, Francine.
Get the gun.
I went to this house. Oh man, it had to be just getting dark. And I was like, you know what? Last stop. I'm gonna just get it done, so I ain't got to do it tomorrow. Knock on the door. This little white lady came there. She's like, "Oh my god!" I was like, I got some stuff to deliver. She's like, "Oh, you scared me."
What is that? Oh, and then you see now, had this been like a 19, or 21, that would have been DC's ass if she felt away.
I would
have been, you know what I mean? Like, it don't take much for them to be like, I felt scared.
On fire.
Listen,
right.
Somewhere hanging red shoes.
But see, that's why that episode with D was so powerful, because despite the fact she went through all that horror in the beginning, when she figured it out, like she was like, okay, I'm gonna fight whatever this is that I'm gonna fight, but first I'm gonna confront the cop who just spit in my face.
Oh God, best line of the whole season. Fuck you, pig.
And she shut him down, because when they were asking her name, she was like, what's your mother's name? And she was like, Hippolyta. And he was like, Hippo what? These niggers in their name, African names. And I'm like,
which was also hilarious, because you're like,
now you're showing it's bad enough you're ignorant. Now you're really showing how ignorant you are. And when she goes to confront him at the whatever little building they were at,
the Piggly Wiggly.
Oh
right.
No,
the blue.
Do they still have those stores? Are they?
Yeah, I think so. Down south.
Yeah, she went to confront him over at the Blue Oyster over there, and and so when she spits on the cop that spit on her, she spits on him, then looks at the cop that made fun of her mother's name and said, "And Hippolyta is Greek, asshole." And she walks out. And she walks out. I'm just like, thank you, Diana. You every bit your mother's daughter. Thank you.
Every bit. And I'm like, do you know how many Black people have wanted to do that or say that, especially if we are pulled over or followed for no fucking reason other than being Black? And it is just a relief to see that, especially through a young Black girl. Because one thing I like throughout that whole episode, which is very true with what a lot of Black girls and I think Black women feel, is like we are invisible a lot of times. Mm-hmm. And just that same energy is not for us when things happen to us, like we do in March for Trayvon Martin and Emmett Till. Like we get it together. Black women are like a backbone when it comes to, we're going to do this, we're going to organize that, this is what's going to get it done. So to have an episode where these things are following you and nobody else can see them but you, that's real for us, because it seems like nobody else can see what we're going through. And then you have a Black man that comes in at the end and he is trying to help you. He's literally holding you thinking he's helping and he's hurting you.
Exactly.
Like he messed this up. And it was like, man, there were so many levels to unpack in that episode. It wasn't even funny. And then the fact that they let her stay hurt. I was not expecting them to pull, How to Train Your Dragon. It's like, damn, you just lost a limb for real? Right. That's the first thing I thought.
But what she did, though. But
they hiccuped? Oh, yeah. You came back around like fucking Ironheart. I was like, bitch, what? I was not expecting that.
I was like, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, she's not even corrupted. I love what she just did. Rip her throat out.
I love it. I like that. She's like, you still don't get it. Let me just go. I was like, huh? We could follow her for another 9 episodes, and I would be waiting like, Diana, where you want us to go? Because she's always been feisty, even when they went. And she was her mom was talking about, because I know we talked about in another episode about how, I named this comet, but since I was Black, they didn't want it to be, by a Black girl. And for Diana to be like, everybody in here, my mama named this. Like, she's always been that chick. Yeah. And I love that. Even with something as traumatic as losing a limb, because I could not imagine, unless it was going to be replaced with something like that, baby. Then we in there.
I'll never be able to draw again. Don't worry, Mama got your back.
Don't worry, Mom got you. And without her going away like she did, she wouldn't be able to have her. So I like that they got to have their conversation and heal, because she felt so abandoned, and I could only imagine how scared she felt, because
just lost.
You don't have a mom and dad.
Now, just
you
lost.
You are by yourself here.
Right. Just lost your father. Mother missing, could be dead.
And
now
you lost your best friend. Your best friend died. Even at the start of, I want to say, the final episode where she was coloring or drawing or something, and then you basically see the newspaper like, hey, nobody's gonna pay for your friend's murder. So can't imagine that shit. That's the time where we probably really wanted to riot when things like that happen, but when you don't have that
the fun,
power
the
and pull. Right. I'm like, y'all, they were bombing that place. That was crazy. When Letty was walking through and they were dropping bombs, I heard the military was involved. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they bombed it.
What the hell?
Hiroshima.
Yeah.
Like,
they were like, oh, we're gonna teach them. I'm like, that was mobilization. I'm like, you just don't come up with that. You had
don't,
plans.
not at all.
You had plans.
They
mobilized the whole army and bombed.
And that's literally what we are concerned about now, and still, which so many people politically can't understand. I'm like, if y'all really cared to have things to be equal, you wouldn't feel like this, but you don't. Because there's a level of like the racism and classism, y'all want it to stay like it is.
Yeah.
Some of y'all just feel bad for saying that, especially those hidden Trump supporters. You may feel bad for saying that, but you don't want shit to really change. Because that would mean the privileges that you're afforded, which a lot of them have nothing to do with finances, but the privileges that you're really afforded are now going to be equal opportunity, and you don't want that. You like the feeling like I'm above this person. You do. Because unless we're singing or playing basketball or some shit, y'all don't give a fuck. That's how I feel.
You're just looking to be entertained.
Pretty much. If we're entertaining, we're okay. As soon as we start opening our mouth, it's shut up and play.
You better go out there and be somebody, nigga, dribble between your legs.
Yeah.
Tell that joke. Rat.
Pretty much.
Tell these kids how to make it.
But on that note,
that was such a great episode.
Right, it was. Well, on that note, we are at the end because I know we got things to do anyway.
We do.
We do?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we do.
We do.
Yeah.
I don't know if you do.
So like we got things to do.
Yeah, so we're gonna.
But I told the story on the Triangle when I did this shit. It was like, oh, black women don't do that.
And I flat out. You just did it. I flat out just did it.
She literally was
like
just
that.
like, oh, we got
like
shit
that.
to do. I don't know about you.
No, I just like a point. I wasn't like,
you did the whole. You was the whole.
No, because you doing a Beyonce thing. I ain't even.
Yeah,
whatever.
Okay.
I'm not
Prove
gonna
my
argue
point.
with you.
Thank you. First episode of the season, you proving my point. I already feel 10 points higher.
Jesus. Well, this is the end of the show. You can check out Blerd's Eyeview on anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can also check us out on YouTube, and we also have a new. We also have a new web page, so you can check us out there too on blerdseyeview.org. Check out some of the articles we're putting up. You know, we're still putting stuff up, so check that out. Darius, what you want to talk about? What you want to close it out with?
So sadly, what the shit is coming to the end of our first season.
Not that it's so hard.
We made it. Baby mama, we made it. But
like Offset or something.
You know, I live on Bad and Booty.
Oh my God, please don't bring that back in.
You want to know Bad Booty?
I forgot all about that. Oh my God.
It's like, so how'd you feel to be left off Bad Booty? You know Bad Booty.
Bad Bougie?
No, but for real, seriously.
Can you say that again in English, though?
I love that thing, man. Joe Budden was like,
Joe Budden.
No,
it's not even relevant anymore.
There's so much in just saying, Joe Budden.
Right.
There was so much in that.
Because I felt like it was so promising, and then you look back and be like, this nigga had one whole album. It
was very promising when you have a voice like he does.
Yeah, like
that alone
pump it
got
up.
him a lot of.
I want to know. No, she want to know, and focus. Yeah, 10 minutes. 10 minutes was my shit. It is literally
and his
10-minute song.
He did a song called "Whatever You Want" with Christina Milian because I still bump it, and he rapped in the beginning and towards the end, and it was actually really good. So
it was another one with Tank and Lil Wayne. She don't put it down like you. That was a good one too.
So yeah, it was promising, but at least he's doing his podcasting. He's using that voice for something.
Yeah,
because he got a great voice.
Yeah. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Fuck Joe Budden. I mean, hey Joe Budden, what's up?
You don't want to be like DJ Academics now. We don't want to.
I'm sorry, I'll say stuff, man. I can't help it. The brain, it just. So the end of season 1 of What the Shit is coming. But don't fret, we have a special bonus episode to bridge the gap with the Triangle.
Oh.
So
we will Sunday, be there. So tune in.
Okay, segue.
Next Sunday is our season finale. But don't fret, because 2 weeks after that, or a week after that, the episode is coming. Smoking Reviews is coming. That's Courtney's brainchild, which is a book. It sounds like it's about smoking, but it's not. It's really just a review show about different products, food, music. We're just gonna be reviewing a whole bunch of
I
stuff.
thought y'all was gonna be high in reviewing. I am disappointed.
Oh my god, no!
I literally thought it was like we're getting high and then we're gonna review things. I was like, oh, this is genius. This is hilarious.
Well, kinda. I don't smoke, but anyway, somebody might be high. You never know who might come through. Snoop Dogg.
See, that's why you gotta look, because you never know.
You never know. So watch, because it's smoking reviews and it's coming, and it's coming soon. Matter of fact, I think it starts after this ends.
Nice.
After what the shit ends. So there's that.
New projects coming soon. New projects.
Oh yeah, new projects. A lot of different stuff coming down the pipeline. A lot of people aren't going to be happy.
We're being vague with it because we don't want nobody taking our ideas.
We had a Jacker on the Swagger, and I'm gonna just say this: don't be out here tubing it on. Oh, that's what I want to do. Public service announcement.
Short cocking it? What are you talking about?
I was gonna say, is he gonna stand up? What's happening?
No. Zoom etiquette. Stop whacking your shit on Zoom. Like that shit is
what?
You didn't know? That's what dude was doing. That's what I said tubing.
That's why he was.
I thought you was talking about somebody. Okay, I thought you.
No,
okay,
the dude from
that
the New York Times or whatever. Jeffrey Tubin was beating his meat on the fucking Zoom call. And then stood
what
up.
What about a Zoom call
room,
was just getting
and then
you
he
ready.
came back and lowered his camera and had his shit out on camera.
Wang.
He was getting spicy on the thing. So public service, now if you're gonna do your shit, at least make it look like you not doing it, my guy. You can't be all these extra arm motions.
What were they even talking about? Like
they were doing and the
Zoom?
crazy part is they were doing a presidential election like simulation. And he was supposed to be like the courts. So he was underneath the rope banging his gavel. So don't be out here tubing it on Zoom, man. Woo. Keep your shit in your pants. It's unprofessional to have your dick out on Zoom. I'm just saying that right now.
Unacceptable.
Don't do that.
It's called OnlyFans, people. Learn to use it.
Or Patreon
if you're gonna do it.
Or
if you're gonna do it, get paid for it. If you're gonna do it.
But that's my public service now. But don't be out here tubing it on Zoom, man. Just keep your shit in your pants until after the call, or at least, don't make it look obvious, motherfucker.
And to our new crew member, Brandi, what do you got?
I'm the new crew member. Yay me. I'm excited to get ready for our next episode of The Triangle. So if you go to my Instagram, it's Oh So Your Brandi, spelled exactly how it sounds, your Youre. And Brandi with an pretty much. And Brandi with an I. You'll see the triangle page is right there. Typically, people can get to our podcast page by my page because I've just noticed that they flow that way. It's just easier. So check us out because we're talking about any and everything we fucking want. We have the news angle about any and every fucking thing we want to talk about in the news, celebrity, political, whatever may be going on. And then we also have the sex angle, which is doing just stupid well.
Like the Monica Lewinsky episode of 60 Minutes. Don't bust that nut yet. We'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm so mad at how well it's doing, but people just want like sex. So we got some different people coming on. I know I want to get some drag queens on. I know I want to get a polyamorous couple pop in. So we're going to keep expanding that because it's apparently what people spicy want. Yeah, because everybody that comes on, they're very open. We create a safe space. This is, we don't judge here at the Triangle. So say what you want. I'm very excited to have
I don't know because y'all
we don't judge. Now we judge your horse porn bullshit.
Hey.
And for that story,
yeah. So if you want to hear that,
go back to episode 7.
76 of Pornhub. That's
Go to episode 7 of Blerd's Eyeview to watch that one.
About that. And then I have some stuff in the works as well. I'm going to be on a show called Penny Candy, which I'm excited about. So I'm not going to say too much about that, but I love the person that's doing it. Damien Nova is amazing. And he's also an artist, so you can check out his page too. Neon Claws is the band name. Super cool. So check them out. And then me and a friend I've known forever and a day, we're finally going to get our Golden Goddess products, as well as doing just some live streaming for the women. So any females listening, if you're all about manifesting.
Plug. I love this.
If you're all about manifesting and wanting things to be right in your life. And also, since we're going to have products coming out, let's say if you got a dick appointment and you want to light a candle because it's dick time, we're gonna help you with that.
We're
gonna help
you. You don't know how to light a candle. That dick ain't the.
Oh no!
The last of your problems.
Going to know.
If you can't light a fucking candle,
it's not a matter of
is the last thing that's on your mind.
It's not a matter of teaching someone how to light a candle. A lot of times, women have to be in a certain headspace, which you dumbass, to enjoy sexual relations. So candles and oils and different things like that, we're going to help people get into because we want all of our women to live their best lives. And I'm also going to stop being a lazy sack of shit and start another YouTube channel that I want to do just called What I Bought and What I Thought. And it's literally going to be that.
Wait, did she say be lazy? Because I'm listening to everything she's plugged. And she's literally the other pinnacle of what you guys keep saying I am.
It's a
lie. He's a female Wayne Brady.
Yes, I love Wayne Brady. No, it is. It's I also
okay. Hold on. Okay, Chris, you're Nick Cannon. She's Wayne Brady. Y'all both.
Why do I gotta be Nick Cannon? Can I just be like? Can I be like a light skin? Can I be like
Cannon's pockets though?
Yeah, well, he got the pockets, but unfortunately, I'm not gonna go back on anything I say.
Well, I will say that. We're
can I plug Reginald D. Wheatman's sex show?
Yeah, well, you know what? Speaking of which, tune into Blerd's Eyeview next week for our special Halloween episode. We come in dressed up. Chet Dooster. How many times you changed his name?
Well, there's two of them. Reginald D. Wheatman's music is the news swarmy news guy.
Swarmy. I swear you guys are taking my word.
Yeah, he's a swarmy newsman that likes to skerbuffle. How about that?
Please stop. Like the way I just almost
that didn't even work.
Oh my God.
She
I hate it so much. I did. Like Jesus Christ.
But no, Chet Doosterhouse is a 18-year-old frat guy who just loves the fucking party, and he'll be here.
Chet Doosterhouse.
I really hate you.
I think Dooster's gonna give us a call just because you used the first half of his last name.
No, Dooster, not Dooster.
Yeah, I know.
Doosterson the third.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna call him Chest Doosterbagger, but that just sounds real rapey.
Oh my God, so that does sound really rapey.
Who raped you? It was Chester Doosterbagger. Oh yeah, that sounds like a guy who raped.
Yeah, like let's get you in for the rape kit. Definitely did that shit.
The Lord. Well,
but Chad Doosterhouse, yeah.
Well, that's all the plugging we got. You got more. You got more plugging.
Reginald the Wheatman is coming up with a sex news show, so it's gonna be tubing it on Zoom.
The co-host is the guy Derry seen on Zoom.
Jeffrey Toobin.
Jeffrey Toobin and Rudy Giuliani. So there it is.
Those are the first two guests.
The last plugs.
And we got Rudy Giuliani just propped up in the corner like we did at Birdie's.
Oh my God, with the shades. Yeah.
With the shades on.
With the shades.
We get at Birdie's. We just gonna pull it back in his head.
I love those films so much. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Judy, you having fun?
So
yeah. And the shades got to be like that.
Yeah,
they were really walking around with a dead body for like 2 hours, like
2 movies.
2 movies, yeah.
Oh yeah, because there was the 2, because they were on the beach. Oh my God.
Like, why did we let
that slide? We let that go.
The first zombie movie without being a zombie.
We need to have a whole episodes of movies that will no longer work, and we need to talk about that. We need to talk about weird science. There are so many movies that would never work now. We need to talk about that.
Yeah, weird science would not work, but it worked for Robert Downey Jr. I just don't know.
Man, how douchey was he in that? Like how? God, how assholey.
Well, the brother Chet was a douche.
The brother Chet was an ass.
Chet Doosterhouse.
There we go. That's the name.
Ass. He was no good.
Okay, I'll test.
But anything on that note, if you can't do something nice for somebody, do something nice for yourself. Entertain yourself, entertain others around you, educate yourself and others around you, and most of all, empower yourself and others around you. And until then, this is your host. I almost said Chris Fury because I'm all on so many shows.
Fury.
I might be changing the tag anyway to that. This is Chris G from Blerd's Eyeview with Darius DC Chambers and our new co-host Brandi Blocker. We're gonna get you a nickname too.
Welcome to Walmart. Get your shit and go.
We let the viewers. How about the viewers? You decide on a nickname. Not that I'm gonna go with it if I don't like it, but
trust me, she's not. If you give her something, she's not gonna swing for it. It's not that easy.
Not that easy. You gotta buy me dinner first or something. It's not that easy.
Kevin Bacon.
Until then,
you gotta heat me up a hot pocket or something.
Until then, this is
supposed to be that in there. It's supposed to be the Kevin Bacon drinking. Oh, middle finger slinging.
I've been talking about that damn drink all week.
Middle finger sling. Yes, Kevin. I'm so happy you guys liked it. Like, I love when people like a place I take them to.
Because everybody I said it to, they were just like, bacon inside your bourbon? I'm like, don't knock it till you try it. Don't knock it. I found a new way to like bacon.
It's so good.
As if I needed more.
Right. So now the next time we do like our little company get together meetings.
Let's not call it that because nobody ever.
It sound good. No. It sound good when we say that.
You see, when I put it in parentheses, I said Blerd's Eyeview production meeting. Yeah.
That's why Courtney was pissed at us because we was.
I told you, I was like, no, that was a business meeting. There was a business meeting.
No fucking business production.
Yeah, we didn't.
It
looked like a lot of about that. It looked like a lot of drinking was going on.
Drinking and shit talking.
A lot of drinking, a lot of good music, a lot of Power Ranger clips. We had a great time.
A lot of drunk white girls. Oh my God, Cindy, I want to get the Kevin. She's like, I want to get the Kevin Bacon. Oh my God, it's so good. No, you have to go to the bathroom with me.
Not with my bacon.
Can't leave
oh my God, we came together, we're leaving together.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
So it's
okay, we're done. We're letting Chris do his thing. We're done.
Let me finish it. So until then, this is Blerd's Eyeview with this crazy ragtag group of agents on my crew.
Oh my God.
Until then, we're out.
Bye. Thanks for listening. That was funny. I forgot all about the Kevin Bacon. I have it so hard.
Make sure to listen to Blerd's Eyeview with your host Chris G on any of your favorite outlets, including Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to visit our website at blackgamuttentertainment.com and get the latest on news on our podcast, giveaways, and contests. That's Black Gamut Entertainment, GAMUT Entertainment.com. And thank you for listening.